So, welcome to all of our listeners. This episode of our podcast is with a gentleman that I think you guys will find quite interesting. He's got quite a varied past. He's had lots of experience in business and in the plumbing and heating industry. And that man is Phil Keeling. I hope I pronounced your name right there.
Yeah, that's all good.
Quickly, to anybody that doesn't know you, can you just give us a quick brief on who you are and where you've come from?
So I started plumbing straight out of school, went to college, did my apprenticeship, got my gas qualifications. And then in 2007, after working for a company for sort of 2.5, 3 years, I started my business. And I've worked for myself ever since. In 2007, within 6 months, I bought a house, got married, and started my first plumbing business. I've got two. Which is Watertight Solutions, based in Guildford in Surrey. Wow,
so you don't like to do things slowly then, by the sounds of it. So,
all in.
Was it always your plan to get out on your own, or did it just sort of just fall into that, and then you've had to sort of adapt to learn, or was that always your goal?
So I fell into it from sort of finishing school, not really knowing what to do, and plumbing seemed a good route to get to run a business, which is what I'm sort of passionate about. So. I enjoy plumbing, but I prefer sort of running and creating businesses and helping other businesses to grow and to learn from, my experience.
Okay, so that was my next question was going to be is it the doing the job you like or running the business, and you've obviously just explained that it's the running the business that is your passion and helping others, which is great. So if you had to describe how you manage your business, sort of. Give us what you do. Do you have staff? Do you outsource stuff? Can you give us a quick overview on how you manage stuff day to day?
So because plumbing and heating can be quite seasonal, from the start I always wanted to build a business so it's quite flexible with the seasons. So obviously summer can be quite quiet and winter can be really busy. So almost immediately I got a company to answer my phones and do my admin. I've got a sort of PA who works for a few different companies that works for my company. She's on hand to sort of help with the day-to-day running. She's based in Bristol, but she answers the phone for me. And if we need jobs invoicing or diaries sorting, I can sort of count on her to jump on it. If it's Saturday evening or Monday morning, she's on it. And that's a company called Time Etc. who I've used for quite a few years now.
Wow, so it sounds like that's working well for you then, because I know a lot of people in the online communities are sort of often trying to work out a way that they can manage phone calls and manage the sort of more administrational tasks, and so you would definitely recommend looking at sort of a virtual assistant solution.
Yeah, so from after about 6 months of working for myself, obviously, as you know, you go all in, you try and get all the work in, and quickly you end up sort of trying to do a job and also trying to answer the phone. And then it gets to a point where you have to sort of basically choose one or the other. So I decided to get a company to answer the phone for me, and they were booking things in my diary. And as we took on other engineers, they were using using Commusoft to manage our diaries and our invoicing, and it's worked really well ever since.
Yeah, that Commusoft is a great software to know. I know a lot of the guys in the community use Commusoft or something equivalent, and having some sort of system in place is a must nowadays. Yes, really, isn't it? It's definitely something that people need to have. If you were starting again tomorrow, what are the major pitfalls that you would that you've sort of learned along your way, so our listeners can sort of use that information to try and avoid it themselves? Is there anything that stands out for you?
The biggest one really is obviously choosing the right accountant. Mm-hmm. And when you've chosen the right accountant, make sure that when it comes to knowing your numbers, they don't because accountants are quite good at giving you the numbers when they need to. So for your tax return or for your VAT return, but you need to know them on a monthly, even a weekly basis. Otherwise, it's very easy to wait until the end of the year or wait until your VAT bill's due, and then you get a big shock. So knowing your numbers doesn't have to be accurate, 100%. But if you know within like a margin, it's like 10% either way. You know what you can take out as salary or dividends, and what you need to have in the bank to pay your VAT bill.
Yeah, so I would definitely agree with Phil there. Knowing your numbers, even if you're only turning over a small amount of money, if you can get to grips with the numbers, it makes all the difference, doesn't it? Yeah. And what do you use? Is there a software that you use to help you with that, or do you just leave it for the accountant to deal with day to day, or how do you deal with that?
So I used to do it in spreadsheets, which one accountant wanted to use, but it's very easy to get that wrong. So it's best I use Xero, and what I like about Xero is you can use it on your phone. Your accountant can use it online in the cloud, and it's very easy. Anyone can log in and just see, very very quickly what your numbers are. I also use Receipt Bank, which you can take a photo on your phone and it puts your invoices straight onto Xero. So you're not waiting for invoices in the post. You can very quickly get a snapshot of how your business is doing. So
it's a sort of near real-time experience of accounting, basically, isn't it, when you use something like Xero?
It's about a week. About a week behind, so obviously you've got timesheets coming in, so you have to obviously got timesheets coming in, so you don't know what your labour is until you get those. But as long as you get the timesheets in quickly, the sales are real time, and a lot of the expenses, supplier invoices are real time. So one of our suppliers uses Williams, and they email invoices which go straight into Receipt Bank and straight into Xero. So I know next day what we spent in the last.
Totally automated then by the sounds of that. Oh, wow, sounds good.
Which is it's nice just to have the back office, so the admin, the phone answering, and the sales and the expenses all done, almost live. Yeah. So it's very easy. If you want to grow, want to buy something, or want to make a decision if you can take on a big job or not, very quickly if it's a good decision or not.
Okay, so by the sounds of it, then, what's your main role within the business? Are you still on the tools, or are you totally off the tools, or are you in the process of the change? Explain how that works.
So about 3 years ago, I came off the tools completely, and we grew quite a bit. But about a year ago, I scaled it back a bit. I just wasn't making the return I wanted to, so I decided to scale it back a bit, start doing more jobs myself, and then the plan is obviously to get the marketing sorted, look at the best thing to target it, whether it's boiler installations or repairs or emergencies, and then we'll start taking more staff and growing.
Right. The word there you used is scale back. It's something that I hear a lot of more experienced plumbers. They use that term a lot, where they've sort of initially jumped in, built a big business, and then realised that maybe bigger isn't always better. Yeah. So you mentioned regrowing. What would be the key elements to that? Would it be having processes in place to deal with that expansion? Or would it be just the way you manage it better this time because you've got the experience from the last time you had a bigger business?
So, probably about 6 years ago, I changed the way I was paying employees. I used to pay them on an hourly rate, but what I realised, it's partly by looking at Pimlico Plumbers' business model and a few other sort of quite successful companies, that they all pay a percentage of their labour charge. And what that means is, it means that the plumbers who are earning you money earn themselves money. So it rewards being quick, being efficient, upselling, and it also means that you're not, rewarding people for being slow on a boiler install. If they take 2 days and a really good plumber takes 1 day, it's not fair that the really good plumber only gets 1 day's money. So that's why we do it on a percentage basis, which seems to be the fairest.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a very good model. And like you say, if you sort of mirror some of the bigger companies, there's obviously a lot of reason as to why they carry out that side of things. So yeah, that's a great bit of information.
It's a lot less risk, and I guess also it's a lot more it means you don't have to scrutinise everything. You don't have to look at timesheets and think, oh, what actually at the suppliers for an hour, or why did it take them such a long time to travel to that job? It means it frees up so much time to concentrate on growing the business and optimising it, as opposed to looking at the details of the hours spent on jobs.
Okay, so where do you get most of your work from? Do you get involved in marketing and advertising, or do you just let things happen naturally? What happens there?
So I've got two businesses. The first one I started in 2007 was Watertight Solutions, and that is mainly quite traditional. So we get our work through recommendations, checker trade, and some SEO, search engine optimization, and some pay-per-click with Google. I've got a new business I started about 2.5 years ago, which is purely online. We don't have a phone number. It's all online bookings. And that, obviously, it's quite a new business. 90% of the work from that is through pay-per-click.
So pay-per-click, for people that don't know, is the ads that you see on Google search. So when you search something on Google, there's always the top 3 and down the side that people have paid to be in that prominent position. So, just quickly, if anyone didn't know what PPC meant, I just thought I'd throw that in.
Yeah.
So that was a bit loud. The fact that you've got two businesses, is there a reason as to why you've not just got one? What's the reason behind having two?
Well, so the first one is just, it's been there for 10 years. I'm just keeping it as it is. It works. It's quite traditional, but it works, and we got lots of customers which are sort of suited to that kind of business. The new business, which is called Happy Taps, is, I guess it's more suited for one-off repairs and more individual clients, as opposed to big businesses or letting agents, estate agents, elderly people. So it's more suited for, say 20 to 40-year-olds.
So it sounds like you sort of just adapted with the times, effectively. So modern society wants online everything. So it sounds like you've just sort of tried to fill a gap there and grab some of the market that want an easy way of booking a plumber. Yeah,
because what I found, for example, my wife, when she wants a takeaway, like she wants to go and get a Chinese or an Indian, she doesn't want to ring up.
I'm exactly the same.
Hates it. Wants to be able to text them and say, I want to order it, or wants to use Just Eat. Doesn't care if it costs more money. She just wants the ease of being able to sit at home, type it into her phone, and it arrives, which is kind of what we do with Happy Tap. So make an online booking. You have to speak to anyone. We send a confirmation via text, so we've got your booking. And then when we allocate it to a plumber, you get another text which says we've allocated it to Joe. So it alleviates all the stress of trying to ring companies and get answer phones. It's instant. It takes a while. It takes like 10-15 minutes to get allocated to a plumber, but it's instant confirmation that we've got your booking. There's no answer phones or on hold to waiting to speak to someone.
I did some research last year with my own client base.
Yep.
And the biggest thing they said was that I asked them what could I do better, and the first thing they said was answer your phone.
Yeah.
That when someone wants you, they want to speak to you then.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing that I got. So using a VA and using online booking is definitely something that I'm going to be rolling out into the new year. So it sounds very, very simple, but in life the simple things generally are the things that work.
Yes.
So having a system in place to answer the phone or take a booking online, is simple to do nowadays. With modern technology, you can be set up on different types of systems very quickly. So which online booking system is it that you use? And
we created it ourselves.
Oh, okay.
It's a website. We spent quite a long time creating it. We made it live very quickly, and then we adapted it and grew it as we saw fit. So we did a lot of split testing to work out which way of doing it was the best. And So which pages converted the best? Which I think there's a lot of talk about Checker Trade recently, and I think one thing they need to probably do is do a similar thing, because what I've spoken to people at Checker Trade before, and they say that what can happen, because obviously a lot of people at Checker Trade are really good, and the problem with that is they're really busy and they don't answer their phone. So I've had it before where someone's rung to speak to a plumber or electrician on Checker Trade, and it's taken them 5 or 6 phone calls just to get through to someone. So there's definitely a gap in the market for online bookings, because if you're good, it's quite hard for you to answer the phone. A lot of people actually don't like answering the phone when they're in front of a customer. So an online booking system is definitely the way forward, because you can accept a job or get jobs confirmed without having to interrupt your day.
And I think what reaffirms what you've just said is the fact that we're seeing some big players moving into our market,
yes.
And they're clearly going to be exploiting this technology. You've got the likes of Boxed, that obviously you can buy a whole new boiler installation online and book online without ever even speaking to anyone.
Yes.
You've obviously got Local Heroes. You've got obviously Rated People and My Builders, all them
John
types,
Lewis,
and now we've got even some serious
Amazon.
players. Amazon,
yeah.
That's going to be a game changer, isn't it? Really,
it is.
If they can create the quality plumbers a way of joining,
yeah.
So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
They can dominate like they're dominating every bloody sector that they ever touch. So with your booking system that you built,
yeah.
Was that to preempt these big guys, or was it just something that you saw was going to work for your own business and it sort of just led you down that path, or was you trying to be ahead of the curve, ready for when these big guys hit?
So I guess a few years ago, we saw sort of online bookings like Uber and Just Eat really growing, and we thought we'd just try and see if people would use it. Because a lot of people will say, booking a plumber, booking someone to come into your house is, quite a personal thing, and you want to be able to trust the person will turn up, and they will, you can trust the actual person coming to your house. So we spent a bit of time just checking there was a market for it, and when we found out there was a market for it, then we really started promoting it through Google, and got quite a few plumbers on board to service the customers we were getting.
Wow, yeah, so it sounds good. And what's that called? Have you got a name for it? Is it just something you use internally, or is it something that other people can get their hands on to?
So it's the business is called Happy Taps, mm-hmm. But we decided that what we wanted to do is the plumbers who are working for us, working for Happy Taps customers, were asking, "Oh, I love this technology. The customers really like it. It's so simple to use. Where can we buy it? Where can we use it? How can we get it? Do we have to build it ourselves?" So what we decided to do was to basically offer our technology to other plumbing companies. And what the plan is that helps people compete with the likes of Local Heroes and Boxed. This means a lot of people are scared about what's going to happen when Amazon roll out their home services, but I think the thing to look at is not to sort of worry about it, but to look at the benefit. So more players coming to the market hasn't affected us in a negative way, because what it's meant is, you've got big marketing budgets of Local Heroes. They're all over all in the papers, all over TV, all on the radio. So now booking a plumber online is really quite mainstream. So that just makes it easier for us to convert a customer, because people are used to doing it.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. So they're effectively normalising it.
Yes.
For the rest of us, without
yes.
us having to spend silly amounts of money to compete against them.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. What would you say if you could have to pick one, just one?
Yeah.
What would be the best bit of advice that you've received? Could be business, personal, whatever you think has helped you the most in your life so far.
Learning to delegate. So if there's things you don't enjoy or aren't very good at, it's best to just go on what your strengths are. It's a lot easier to outsource things you don't enjoy or aren't very good at, and just focus on the strengths.
I couldn't agree more. When I had my large plumbing company, that was one thing I couldn't do. And looking back, that was probably something I could have, with a bit of hard work, I could have overcome. But it caused so many problems trying to be everything to everybody. I was trying to be the accountant, I was trying to be the office assistant, I was trying to be the tradesman, I was trying to be the business owner. And there's only so many hours in a day. There's only so much things you're good at. And what people should do, in my opinion, is focus on their strengths first. Improve weaknesses over time, but focus on your strengths to start with. Hit the ground running. Focus on what you're good at. If you're good at selling boilers to people, focus on that. If you're good at managing the numbers, focus on that and look for people that can complement your business in the areas that they're good at. And that's something definitely that I've learned, and I've definitely improved in that in my own business. So,
sales. Sorry to interrupt. Sales is a really good example that, as a salesman, a lot of the time, as they get good numbers, they're really good at converting jobs, they're really good at selling. But what can happen is the company sees them a good salesman and think, okay, I'll promote them to a manager. I'll promote them to have a team of salesmen. But then they're not in front of the customer anymore. Maybe they're not very good at managing. So the actual company's sales can drop because, that salesman was best to be a salesman. Same with, gas engineers. You can have I'm not the best at fixing a boiler. But some guys who are amazing at fixing boilers, so knowledgeable, and really enjoy fixing boilers, they should stay. The best thing for them is probably to stay fixing boilers. And if they want to grow a business, then maybe get someone to do the back office stuff or the promotions for them, and they focus on what they're best at.
And that is definitely something that a lot of people could get some great value out of implementing, because it's so easy to try and do everything, isn't it? You just fall in that trap of just a constant rat race of going round and round and round, and you're never getting anywhere. Whereas if you focus on them strengths, and then outsource or hire in, whichever method you want, other people that can do the bits that you either don't like or that you're not that good at. It sounds too simple, but it's such a common trap for people to fall into of not implementing, isn't it?
No one can do everything. You can't. There's no point. You're never going to be able to grow or expand, or you can grow and expand, but it won't be profitable. Unless you just, I know what I'm not good at. I know what my strengths are. And you have to just capitalise on those, and that's the way to not only earn more but to grow.
And you mentioned the word profitable. Excuse my accent there. I'm from Luton, so I don't really use T's that often. With profit, I think a lot of people look like they're big and successful. But when you look a little bit closer, they're working 15 hours, 16 hours a day. And are they actually making much more money than someone that isn't doing that, but just working a little bit more clever? What's your view on that?
So when I first started off, so I was quite young. I was probably 20, 21. My goal with the business was to have, sort of 20 or 30 vans on the road with my company name on them. My goal wasn't, to make X amount. It was, so that's a very easy thing to do. It can make you feel really good to have a
status.
Have like a business with lots of vans driving about. But you can do that, and it can be really profitable. But you need to look at numbers before there's no point buying 5 vans if you haven't got the work for 6 vans.
I agree, definitely. So moving on from that, what's your plans for the next 12 months? Are you looking to grow both your plumbing companies, or one or the other, or are you looking at different avenues now, or where's your focus lying?
So what I found over the last year is that what I really enjoy doing is not necessarily plumbing or dealing with customers. What I really enjoy doing is improving, our conversions. So making a web page go from getting a phone call after, you could spend you get 10 visits to the site, and you get 1 phone call, which is, you know, that's quite average. But if you experiment and use the technology, there is, you know, like quite new technology, things like you know, tracking phone calls and tracking visits. You can work out ways to improve the conversion. So, you know, you might spend £100 on Google to get, say, you know, 50 visits, but then that's all very well. A visit doesn't mean anything. If they're not going to call you, you might as well, you know, there's no point spending anything. So it's not. So I want to basically focus on helping people with their marketing, so their pay-per-click marketing and their search engine optimization, but also to really focus on helping people improve their websites, the conversion. So, you know, click from a click to a call, or click to a contact form, or a online booking, or, you know, like a boiler quote, like, you know, True Quote or things like that.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's more of the techie side, which from my experience of being in the plumbing arena and in the online communities, it's a side of the businesses that a lot of people struggle with, because looking at data and A/B testing and things like that, it's a different language to most plumbing and heating engineers and small business owners. So it sounds like you want to sort of move yourself into that field of assisting other plumbing and heating companies in making sure they get the biggest bang for their buck effectively.
Yeah, well, it's just nice to I really like the numbers and like learning, you know, how things work, and, you know, different, like changing one word on the website can change you from getting, you know, 5 phone calls, getting 10 phone calls. So it's really nice to see the, you know, return you can get on spending a couple of hours here and there just improving your website.
Wow, so sounds interesting. So you'll have to, we'll put a link to Phil's website and everything in the comments in the podcast, so you can learn a little bit more about Phil and get in contact with him if you feel he might be able to help your business. He's certainly a knowledgeable man, and I've been taking notes as I've been talking, because there's a few things in there that have certainly helped me.
Yep. Thanks.
So we're going to wrap this up now as we're approaching the half-hour mark. With regards to your mindset, so I'm a firm believer that mindset it plays a huge part in everybody's life. Do you buy into that? Do you try to do you consciously make sure that you're in the correct mindset? Is it something that you do?
So I think I've got 4 kids, quite young kids, and I think one
crazy
thing
like me, I've got 4 too.
It's busy. But one thing I've really wanted to enforce in them, and it's helped me to do it as well, is I want them to think they can do anything. So I really believe, and if you say you can do something, you can do it. If you say you can't do something, there's no chance you're going to be able to do it. I mean, I think there's I think it was Henry Ford, the guy who started Ford Motors. Mm-hmm. I think he said, I can't remember the quote exactly. I think basically, you know, if you say you can or you can't, you're right.
Yeah. I know. I've heard of that
it
quote.
Is so. Yeah, the mindset is so important, because if you get the wrong mindset, you just give up. You don't even try. But if you really push yourself, and you'll find a way to do it.
It's like the saying: you miss every shot you don't take.
Exactly.
Don't you?
Yeah. Or the you know, the more things you do, the luckier you get.
Yeah. It's funny how that works, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. Well, so that's going to wrap our interview up with Mr. Phil Keeling today. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and I hope there's some bits in there that might either help you or help you make a decision in something in your business. If you found any value in this, it would be great if you could share it with any other like-minded people. That's it. That's us over and out. So say goodbye.
See ya. Thanks.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.